We heard what Mr. Suryavanshi said, presenting his talk. We also know about the current scenario of the country regarding the power sector. So my question is, the recent CEA draft law, actually, it's not been implemented, it's just a draft, which proposes allowing multiple private players to share existing distribution networks for electricity supply, which is already there. So please explain this for our delegates, for our people who have joined us. And how could this impact the power sector? This is to Mr. Ninad.
So, good evening, everybody. So, basically, there's an interesting part which is happening in our country. A lot of reforms in electricity sector are definitely, being done, as there's a lot of catching up to be done. With this reform of kind of an open access and allowing the peoples to, utilize the infrastructure and buying the energy from anybody, is just going to be, I mean, something which is showing that our focus is now becoming very, very customer centric, because this fields used to be traditionally the way it is with the discoms, and you are supposed to, you are kind of have to buy the power from the particular discoms or something like that, because there is no other alternative. And then it comes to the part of cost and everything in terms of both for buyer and seller. So with this kind of open access, it is definitely going to be an interesting part. It's not going to be easy, it's very complicated, but definitely the purpose behind it, or the that we are thinking in that line. So looking forward to it in coming years, addressing all the uh, nitty-gritties that will come and the challenges to have this multi-stakeholder collaboration happening. It is definitely going to help the renewable players also to arrive at better costing, better pricing, because as well as it will be deeply benefiting the industry as well as the consumers in this aspect.
Mr. Sanjeev, we would like to understand from you how it is going to, help the sector as a whole.
See, the sector as a whole, I'd like to say that it's largely government investment that still remains on transmission lines. It is not many private players who have invested into it or have shared their infrastructure. Sharing the infrastructure by these private players, maybe certain players have got infrastructure which is for 2000 megawatt, and they are just taking, say, 400 megawatt across it. They can lease their infrastructure, or they can provide the services of their infrastructure so that others can use it. Another one being, this will have a problem in terms of tariffs. There needs to be a regulation which completely controls the tariff that one has to apply. Otherwise, if there is a competition in terms of tariff, the power cost will simply skyrocket for consumers. It will depend. If I have got a network that is there in a congestion area and I am decongesting it, so most of the power that comes up new will be flowing through my network. If more power flows through my network, I get an opportunity to charge more. So unless controlled by certain regulation in terms of tariffs and all, so cost will be a major part or a major restrictor. Yes, like the highways, this also takes the very same route where government has allowed highways to be built on bolt basis, on lease basis, on different bases under which these infrastructures have been built. So government will allow this infrastructure also to come up, which will be much faster. As we see as of now, that availability of power is not an issue. It is many places the congestion in transmission that becomes an issue, because at peak hours, the power that is supposed to flow from one place to the other cannot flow. So the kind of investment that is required is available with the private sector, and there are many investors who are ready to do so. So it's a welcome move as it matures, as rightly said by Mr. Ninad. As it matures, things will come up and there will be improvements. As I have told, tariff or everything that is there as an issue will be taken care by the government in due course.
Okay, switching to Mr. Ramesh, sir. Mr. Sanjeev was speaking about there is availability of power, but the issue is in congestion of power. So what is your take on that?
This is the big problem, congestion, and I wanted to explain you in my presentation, HVDC. This congestion can be solved with a lot of power electronics and HVDC. I'm addressing this with the distribution DER in USA. I was a part of a transmission line to enhance the power of USA, and $55 billion will be spending by 2030 to remove the congestion, to give the proper power supply and make it economical, which is possible with the power electronics can increase X plus 20, X plus 30, X plus 50. I'm going to discuss this thing coming weeks when I come to Bombay with transmission and distribution MSCB with the director, happens to be my friend. And I will suggest government of Maharashtra, where I can give my international things, how to come out with this congestion and what kind of technology shall be provided. It's a complex thing. It depends upon what volume we're talking. But I'll tell you one thing. All utilities in India, in the distribution side, losing lot. And high transmission time also, the losses are very high unless they compensate it and get the benefit. They're not taking the benefit of power electronics and do the decongestion, which I can help them how to design and to go about it. This is the question. Yes, congestion is you can solve with the power electronics, proper quality equipment, discarding the old thing, replace with the old new kind of equipment, that the bottleneck can be removed, but it will take our lot of efforts to do that. Okay, that's the answer for that.
Mr. Ninad, as Mr. Ramesh said, means utilities are losing a lot, and much has to be done in this with the help of power electronics. Do you agree with him? This is for you, Mr. Ninad. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Could you just, there was a net.
Yeah.
Could you repeat, please?
Mr. Ramesh was telling that utilities are losing a lot, in the sense of transmission and all. And there are more to be done in the power electronics, with the help of power electronics to stop this. Do you agree with him?
Well, definitely, power electronics is definitely one of the solution. But I mean, only through power electronics it won't be possible. But along with that, it has to be the infrastructure that needs to be increased. And power electronics is just going to basically help that infrastructure, to like multiply. Because right now we are facing a huge requirement just for to add up the renewable capacity. If you say even today, almost 50 gigawatt, like Mr. Sanjeev Prasad was mentioning, is curtailed or stranded just because of grid congestions and not having available. So power electronics definitely can improve the efficiency level to a certain extent, but definitely it needs more and more transmission lines and at a faster pace, because the challenge is totally different now. Initially, the transmission lines were being built to evacuate power from a coal plant or a nuclear plant or a idle plant, which had a long life cycle of construction. Whereas now the solar plants and wind plants can come up in a period of 18 to 24 months. Whereas transmission lines traditionally are even taking 5 years to 7 to 8 years. And at the fastest pace also, they minimum take 2 to 3 years to make. So that's where the biggest challenge is, not just in India but across the globe, because it is not simple thing about the technology alone. Transmission line is all about the uh, might and willfulness of the governments and all the regulatory bodies and everything, because transmission line is something which involves multiple stakeholders, the common man, and the I mean, you go through the fields, there are multiple problems. So like the once upon a time we had a problem with road acquisitions, and road space of road construction was not to the levels what today we have in India, was definitely because of this, because the major part was going into the acquisition portion, which is not simply the science or something can be applied there. It is to be dealt with people and the policies. So it is mix of both. So yes, definitely, along with the new additions and use of the best technologies, as India is also, I think, poised to already come up with more than 8,000 kilometers of HVDC. HVDC is the answer. With the going forward of the increase in our renewable capacities, HVDC is one and only solution, and it has to be. So definitely, yes.
Okay, switching to next question, which is on investment. There is a report which says that power sector, means India's power sector has investment opportunity of rupees 40 trillion over next decade. If we consider this report, Mr. Sanjeev, sir, how do you take this report regarding the investment and where the power generation side leverage this, if we speak about?
If you talk of this number, this becomes slightly sort of generic because it does not, I have not read that report. So whether what is the number that is required for building generation infrastructure and what is that which is required for upgrading the infrastructure? What I understand is for upgrading the infrastructure, a figure reflected is around 200 billion that is required for upgrading the existing power infrastructure in the country. Balance, I understand, is coming for whatever new is to come up and whatever augmentation is supposed to be there in place. Now, as has been done throughout the world, a while ago we were talking of private public partnership against which these transmission lines will come up, or so many power plants that had been under shutdown have now come up. You have got a lot of solar parks that are coming up. They are not under private public partnership, but yes, they are installed under some guaranteed power supplies that they'll be providing. They are also open to sales. There are changes that are coming up. So a lot of private investment opportunities are there. So power sector is full of opportunities as we grow. Okay, there are opportunities, opportunities, and opportunities. If you just look at the smaller one in terms of solar power, you see so many names that you might not have even heard of. So almost everybody from the largest site power producer to the smallest one is going for solar power. So that's the way the landscape is changing. And the figure that you reflected may appear too big today, but with the investment being spread out between government and the private entrepreneurs, that value may appear to be nothing, and we may be very well through with it, with whatever upgradation or whatever improvements or whatever additional requirements we have for infrastructure.
Sir, Mr. Ninad, your take on this, and Mr. Sanjeev was also speaking about the power producers, solar power producers, the names which didn't even heard of, they are coming up, the new, every day new companies are being formed. So there is one more question add on to this. Do you think that there is surplus of power being produced due to these solar power producers?
Well, I am completely agreeing with Mr. Sanjeev that, even I have not read the exact report, but yeah, I mean, the kind of requirement, we are at such a bright spot in the power sector. And it's not just because of power sector, because whatever the other ambitions are being there, like the buzzword today is AI in data center, all anything and everything, or even India is making India, unit manufacturing to come up, all boils down back to power. It's like the efficiency of power, the cost of power impacts in a huge way. So, surplus, definitely not. No way. It's only thing is now, yes, because there is so much of opportunity, everybody is jumping into it now, but the sector is, as I said, there are so much of complications and all those things, so it depends how it moves through, how many players stay, or what kind of consolidation happens over the period. That's a different thing, but there's definitely, right now we just have to catch up, and the kind of catch up we are trying to do is in a very short period. In next 5 years, adding another 250 gigawatt is not a mean ask. It's just it's like it is having so much of complication. But the great part is, yeah, we have actually achieved at least half of it by now, although little delayed, but we have achieved. So it is in a global stage, we are doing really great if you comparatively say. But then still there is a lot to do, and definitely over the period, even it can definitely surpass even 40 trillion also, as Mr. Prasad was mentioning. So you never know the number, and it is more the earlier, more the faster way you do, I would say the number can remain little better. Otherwise the costs are just going to get piled up day by day.
Okay, sir, let me just break it. If the means there is no time to
Well, I
break.
would just like to add something to what
Yes,
you
sir.
talked of, is in terms of surplus capacity. If you look at nameplate numbers, perhaps yes, you may still be having certain surplus capacities. There may be underutilization of capacities. That is second one. So with those, if you add up, yes, there may be available capacities, but there is not adequate demand for those capacities. See, like during peak hours in the day, when solar peaks, the power cost around the cost at which power is available hovers around 3.5. Okay, which is low. I have seen it go down on peak summer 2.9 also. So that somewhere substantiates that yes, there is capacity, but yes, the kind of capacity that we need, say, perhaps if we need more of solar at that point in time, we need the thermal to be resilient and to back off, is not available. So all that upgrades, all those improvements will have to get in, so that right kind of power is utilized at right point in time to get the optimal mix.
Mr. Ramesh, sir.
Yeah, let me add.
Yes, yes.
Sorry. Let me add. Ninad was saying we need infrastructure. Yes, without infrastructure, power electronics cannot be applied. That's true. Our infrastructure, I go all over the world and I see the infrastructure is very poor, even though we have good human brain. Because of investment, because of political scenario, we're lacking behind. Now, the important question or important discussion was done renewable energy, solar power. Now, how to integrate? Even if we make it surplus, even if it is, it has to be used. Now, how to integrate? You need infrastructure. We don't have proper infrastructure to integrate, and the system studies to integrate it. There are a lot of challenges. It is called integration of IBR, inverted base resources. So this is very complicated things which we are addressing in the world with a larger scale of power. IBR has to be handled. Now, I used to call earlier conventional grid is virgin grid. Now our grid is no more virgin. It has been spoiled by IBR, as Ninad and Sanjeevji was talking, solar and renewable energy offshore. Now we have to do with it. We cannot ignore it. Now this the only power is right now is the answer to give you power for your industry. Now how to integrate? Then it is required grid code compliances. What is grid code compliances? How to handle IBR? What is grid edge technology? These are the infrastructure required to evacuate the power properly without tripping the grid. Yeah, that's for me, and I can help you in all those domains. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ninath, continuing with this, if we speak about the collaborations required in this sector, so what will you suggest to the industry? So please, yeah.
Industry to be specific, you are saying, see, right now it is all the need is basically what I can zero down on is your transition is based on transmission. So everybody has to come together now to make sure that the transmission infrastructure, the transmission capacities is increased within a timeline. And for that, I mean, everybody has to lobby for that, all the industries, because it is not just a transmission industry which wants transmission lines to come up. If they don't come up, everybody is having the consequential impact, starting with the renewable players. Their investments are at risk because there's a curtailment. They are not, if that is curtailment is in general terms, it's a loss to them because they are not able to sell what they're producing. They, because of unavailability of renewable power or a proper or a enough sufficient power, there is a curtailment or there is a drop in the data centers kind of coming up. Everything, it has a multiplying effect. And take the industry, because even industry wants to be competitive in a global stage, you need power cost to come down. So I would say the collaborative effort now required is everybody to understand and give that importance that transmission infrastructure has to come up to complement everybody. It is at a, I mean, at a center of it, you can say right now, of the energy story. If you have a transmission, you can actually achieve a transition.
Okay, Mr. Sanjeev, sir, if I say, means, do you want to add on this? Also one more point. We are talking about renewables. Can you also shed some light on thermal power generation regarding this?
See, thermal power generation still continues to be the largest part of it. Thermal power generation is not likely to be phased out very soon till the time we get a solution for RE-RTC power, which is more and more reliable and where availability is more or less guaranteed at least some minimum level. Thermal power plants, yes, they are still there to stay, although it was thought of that it may completely go out. But with the prohibitive cost of battery energy storage systems or the hydro storage systems, those costs are preventive costs. Sort of one cannot invest that much of money into it, although being forced or subsidized by the government. Still, thermal is going to continue as something which supports this entire thing. One more thing that is being considered is like recently there was an article which was talking of that we missed the bus to some extent in terms of when we did not go for a long-term agreement on gas with Qatar. So there, since we did not make that agreement, our gas cost falls, landed cost falls at around $12 per million BTU, making the cost of power prohibitive. Otherwise, a better mode of generation could have been you generate your evening or peak power or renewable off-peak power from gas-based plants, which are less polluting as compared to the thermal plants. But yes, since that is not there in place in India, till the time we find our own gas or we find some alternative solutions, we still are going to back up to our thermal. We still are going to use up our thermal. Maybe we may not be coming up with significant sizes of capacity as of now, but I'm not very sure with respect to demand as to whether that will be required or not. Government does not exactly promote thermal power as of now right away, allowing it left and right as it was doing earlier. Currently, that basic problem remains solved. So, but yes, thermal, again repeating, is there to stay, still far off before it is phased out completely.
Mr. Ramesh, means you travel globally. There were recent news that cooling towers in Germany or in some other countries, London also, they were destroyed. It's of no use now. But with respect to India, as in continuation with what Sanjeev sir said, what is your take? What do you want to add on this?
Sorry, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. What Sanjeevji said, thermal plant is going to stay for some time. Yes, that's true. Till we get ready with renewable energy. And as he talked, yeah, the investment, this and the proper power and all. Let me tell you one thing. There is a technology is called grid collapse, and we have to provide for the grid. That's what we did with National Grid UK, then Europe Grid, a lot of system studies. Now, the danger part of it and why the thermal plant is going to stay, we have to keep it running for some time, even though it is producing CO2, which is very bad. Your future will not be there, means our coming generation. If you want to protect it, you have to take it and close down all CO2. Because of that, to delay it, India government added 2070 net zero, but not with the word 2050. But Holland, I have seen, Europe, I have seen, they are very strict about it. They're going to close it down one by one, they're doing. But nuclear power is coming up. Now here, why we need the thermal power plant? Addition, it is supplying power, and we are not able to generate required power for the whole India. In that tune, we have to strike the balance. Now this power plant is rotating machine. It gives the inertia to the grid. So I'm negotiating with the Siemens Erlangen. I was there in Germany with the top MD guys and all. With Hitachi Energy, I was there in Sweden, Ludvika. So now I'm negotiating with the synchronous condenser for different country. And we have to introduce that. Then only our grid will be stable. But to get the support, if you have thermal power plant, the rotating machine can help you to that. But the side effect is carbon. You have to decide and strike the balance. That's my thing.
Ninad sir, Mr. Ramesh spoke about nuclear power also. So recently, we have heard that government is planning to come up with 100 gigawatt nuclear powered stations and all. So, how it is going to be implemented in your views, and what do you see the future in this?
Well, it is again, as there is a focus on having you what do you call as strong power security. Nuclear is one of the clean source of energy. Just now, Mr. Ramesh spoke about CO2 emissions and all those things. While there is a huge impact on effort on the renewable like solar and wind and all those things, but definitely nuclear was always a solution available, which was having its own concerns, but that those are addressed with the technology and all the quality to be monitored and met. But definitely, that is one of the cleanest source of energy as well as the economical source as well. So definitely now, as we were talking about such big, huge investment numbers, it is on the same lines. Government has talked because they want it to come up, have a good share of almost 100 gigawatt of nuclear power. To make it possible, definitely they have opened the doors to the private investments so that right kind of investment can come in. I mean, this is the way forward, I would say. This reduces the pressure on the government to make it happen also, as well as you can. This helps to get the right kind of technologies and from the other countries. So that's how it is.
Sanjeev sir, taking this ahead, how do you see this nuclear power coming? And do you see that power sector is going to invest because there might be some profitability incurred in this?
It will depend. See, at this stage, telling that some private companies will get into it will depend on what kind of clearances are there and whether that nuclear source is to be handed over to a private player. So it has got its own issues that government will take call at appropriate point in time. However, I still feel that nuclear power, yes, it is a clean source of energy and it needs a large scale investment, which possibly the government may itself do, may not look at as many private players for supporting it. And if it is there, it may only be in terms of partnerships, may not be in terms of 100% ownership. But yes, it is the need of the hour and it is the source which can give you high quantity of power in the shortest possible time. Okay, so and that also clean power. So that's the best way that you can migrate from thermal to nuclear. Rather, your CO2 footprint has to go down and will go down. This is one of the ways.
Okay, Mr. Ramesh, sir. So I just wanted to wind up this discussion. Then we will come to Q&A session. There is some. Okay, before we wind up, there is one question from a delegate. He asks, "Does HVDC transmission completely eliminate Ferranti effect observed in HVAC transmission?" Can you please answer this, sir? So please unmute yourself.
Here you are. Who has raised this question?
So one delegate is Gaurav Nayak.
Gaurav. See, in AC transmission, Ferranti effect, the formula is there, which I don't want to deal with it now. And Ferranti effect is when your transmission line opens, not loaded, it opens, then you find very high voltage at other end because there is a capacitance between line and earth. Okay, this is the thing. Here, sometimes the protection may not work, then Ferranti effect will be there. With HVDC, we control everything. We also do these system studies. So we don't face any problem like this.
Okay.
I hope I answered this. Anything in detail if you want, you can always get it of the this kind of talk or this event. I can educate because I'm educating a lot of people in the world. Now, if you come where I'm speaking, you'll find a library more than 40 lakhs rupees, books and journals. You name any author in the world from Europe or America, ask Ramesh Suryavanshi, the Gora will say, we have met. So I can give it back to my India. I want our India future should be bright, and we have bright people. So we all, my request to Sanjeevji, Ninad, Pitale sir, to educate juniors and make our future better. Thank you.
That's a very nice message, sir, actually. So before we wind up, Mr. Ninad, your closing statement, sir. So please unmute yourself.
It's been a fantastic discussions. Where definitely, I mean, I can feel the energy on the energy discussion, because we all are looking forward for becoming, the global topmost economies, and this is something which is powering our economies. So we are all glad to be, and find lucky to be able to kind of contribute in any ways in this journey of the country. So it's a great nation building, and we look forward to that 500 gigawatt story to be coming true, and having such kind of discussions after actually achieving it. So thank you everybody, and
I
all the
want
best.
to add. I want to add. Can you unmute me? Can you unmute me?
You are
Sir,
we
so
can,
we can hear you. We can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I want to add before we are closing it down that transmission line is a bloodline. So we have to have them lot and clean. And it should not be with what you can say with kind of blocking the things. And whatever we do in electrical engineering, electricity, make sure advances the human life.
Sanjeev, sir, your closing
Wonderful
statement
discussion. Yes.
and
Wonderful
sir,
discussions as always, and this time I got a lot of insight into HVDC. This
You're
this was
welcome.
something that I have heard of lot, but have never gone into as much of details. There, yes, it is our dream to be a energy sort of energy sufficient and a energy is a resilient country. Not only sufficient but resilient and reliable country, and hope so that dream will be realized soon.